Hey, welcome to the show. Today I have a special treat for you. We're going to show you how to make bacon from scratch. Christopher Baitinger,
How you doing?
how are you?
Doing wonderful, thank you.
Thank you for the tutelage we're about to receive.
It's gonna be fun.
It is. Okay, but first, you know how the show works. We're going to give him his props. Tell me about your Meals for Shields. Give him a little bit of the pedigree of what makes you the king of bacon.
Well, I actually work with two nonprofits. The first one I do is called Wilmington Stir. Short term for Sitting Together is Radical. And one of the things we do is we all get together, cook an elaborate meal, and hang out and fund a project. So everybody gets together and then does their little presentations of educational programs, things like that, and art programs, and then we vote on it, and the people get the money.
How do we get involved in that?
Well, you can check them out, wilmingtonstir.org. We do 2 events a year, every 6 months.
Okay.
And then from there, I think our next one will be either March or April.
Cool. I'd like to be involved in that. That sounds
Wonderful.
like a great cause. Now, the Meals for Shields, this is like something that's, did I say it right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
good,
yes,
good,
yes, yes.
good. I hate to make mistakes, even though I do it frequently. But so this is like all the first responders, the people, the cops, the firefighters, everybody that has to work to keep us safe on a holiday that we're enjoying are not enjoying their holiday, and that's where you come in.
Correct. It was a thing. A very good friend of mine is the one that came up with the idea, and he hit me up, and the idea is just we get to spend our times with our families, and these guys are working, for the firefighters it's usually 24-hour shifts, for the police officers it's usually 12-hour shifts, and the idea was let's just all get together, make this traditional Thanksgiving meal,
Right.
and then whomever has a badge shows up, we feed them.
That's good.
And it was great. So this was our first year. Thanksgiving went off. There were a couple of hiccups, but they were fun. And I think we wound up feeding probably about 75 police officers, firefighters, and EMTs.
Right.
And the count was mostly Wilmington Fire Department, police, and then county, Newark, state. And it was great seeing all these different uniforms sitting around, having a meal. And we also encouraged their families to come in and eat too if they couldn't,
That's
get home.
neat. So they can be there with their
Yep.
families as well. That's very
Yep.
cool. Now, do you want to give any of the restaurants that you've opened, worked at in the kitchens a plug, or should we just move on?
We can move on.
Okay,
I
cool.
think right now.
I mean, you've been at a lot. He's been at a lot. If you know anybody that opens restaurants, they usually bring him in because that's what you need to do when you open a restaurant is have an excellent chef. But the treat for you today is he's going to show you how to make bacon from scratch. And then the treat for me is a bacon Benedict, and you're going to have to stay tuned to see that. So I'll tell you what, let's take a little quick break.
Sounds good.
And we're going to come back and we're going to show you how we start the procedure for the curing?
Yes.
Curing of the bacon.
Yep.
We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. As promised, we're about to show you, I guess, from the beginning
Yep.
to the end. The
Yep.
only thing we're not going to show you is the guy killing the pig.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we'd like to do that for you, but we didn't have enough time this time. So we have, I followed you on the Facebook as we were getting ready to do this, and you were actually at a meat shop in Maryland
Correct.
to pick up this pork belly.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, let's give the guy a plug because
Oh.
you say it's the best place, so let's tell the people where they can actually go to start this procedure.
Sudlersville Meat Locker in Sudlersville, Maryland. It's 45 minutes to an hour, depending how many speed limits you break. For my whole hogs and everything that I've done, they just do a wonderful job. Them and Fisher's Meat Market in Middletown
Yeah.
are my 2 main sources. And it's good quality. The Lancaster meat is at Fisher's. They also pull it from Lancaster for Sudlersville. And you just don't get any better than that. I mean, it's...
Really quick, before we start going into the process, we talked about what you do nonprofit, but if somebody wanted to actually have you do something for them, maybe like a whole pig or something that you're talking about, are you open for that? Do you
Yes.
do catering?
Yes, I do. I'm always open to roasting a large pig for someone if they want it.
Beautiful. That'll be on the bottom of the screen, how to get a hold of him to do that. Now, let's go. Let's show everybody what we're going to do.
First and foremost, this is a piece of belly, skin on. You can get it skin removed. I personally like the skin on. You can cut, it's easier to cut off once you have gone through the smoking process.
Okay.
The key is that some places will actually salt their pork belly ahead of time. Please ask them for non-salted, because once you add the cure, you could just run into how do you say it? It wouldn't
Just
taste very good.
It would be overly
afterward.
salted.
Overly salted, and just you wind up drinking God knows how much to get it down. So what this is this is actually a nice hunk of belly that I cut off. As you can see, wonderful marbling. This whole just wonderful goodness, fattest flavor.
Right.
And
I agree 100%.
hence the reason why people love bacon so much. So what you do, if you can grill, if you're good in a kitchen, somewhat good in a kitchen, you can make bacon at home.
Okay.
So walking through, what I do is I have a basic cure, and the basic cure is salt, sugar, and what they call curing salt. Now the curing salt is actually tinted pink for a very obvious reason, is it's got nitrates in it. The nitrates that are in there is to actually help prevent spoilage, keep the coloring nice, and then also avoid botulism,
Okay.
which is the big thing.
That's the key.
Now, do not confuse that with Hawaiian sea salt or any of the other pink salts that you can buy off the.
Right.
This is completely different. It's
So
either,
you have to go to a special place to get curing
Yes,
salt. 'Cause
I-
I haven't seen it on the supermarket shelf.
some places are offering it now. I got mine online from Amazon.com,
Oh, very cool. See,
So-
online shopping is key.
and it's actually called Instacure #1. So now what I did was I mixed up the salt, sugar, brown sugar, black pepper, and the pink salt.
Okay, now, just while you're doing that, I'm just going to ask you, is there any specific ratio to salt, sugar, etc. that they have to follow? Is it something they can look up online? Is it
They can
something
look it up
call
online.
you about?
The cure ratios that I use, I actually got out of a book, a wonderful book called Charcuterie, that was done by a writer named Michael Ruhlman and Chef Brian Polson, and it is that wasn't in my way. I'd be able to give you the ratios.
Okay, wait, I can do it. It's a half a cup of granulated sugar, a quarter of a cup of dark brown sugar, 1 teaspoon curing salt, and 1 teaspoon black pepper.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
So mixed all together, and this is something they call it the salt box method. So you don't want to completely encase this. You just want a very nice, even coating. Because what this is going to do is the salt's going to get in, the sugar's going to get in to help flavor it. Same with the black pepper. But the salt's going to get in, and it's actually going to start drawing moisture out. And this is what helps cure it. So
we're putting it on the fat side, the
Fat
meat
side,
side,
just-
the
yep.
edges, the ends,
yep,
covering it all.
Just try to get all nice little spaces covered. Shake off the excess. Now, my recommendation, if you have a food saver at home, use that. If you don't, double bag this. Because what's going to happen is, as this salt starts pulling all of this moisture out of the pork, it's basically going to have a lot of liquid in here. The liquid itself, you don't want all over the inside of your refrigerator. So, double bag it, put it in a nice shallow dish, something like this, in your refrigerator, and every day, flip it. That's all you have to do.
That's it.
And you'll notice, each day more and more liquid will leach out of the pork. Just evenly distribute it. You might have to massage it in.
So you're never dumping the liquid out. You're just
at the end. Nope. At the very end, after 7 days, it's usually a good timeline to go off of is 7 days.
okay.
So, and if you've cooked a steak
Yeah.
all the way to that horrible well done that some people like, that's the way this should feel when you're done. When you press, like right now, you're
gotcha.
pressing on that.
The
This
whole
feels
yeah.
So at the end, you start checking it after 5 days. But when you get to that point where you've got all that resistance, you're good.
Okay.
So take it out, get rid of everything, rinse this off very well. And then what I tell people to do is just put it on a plate with a paper towel and put it in your fridge, uncovered overnight.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is the air in the refrigerator is actually going to give it this little bit of a skin on top. They call that the pellicle. And what happens is the pellicle helps the smoke adhere. When you're going through the smoking process, that will definitely help you get more of that smoke flavor into the meat.
Awesome.
So this fridge, 7 days, and then you're happy.
And then you're happy.
So now once that happens, get this out of the way.
Here, I'll get that out of the way. Go ahead.
Once that happens, you get your smoker going. Get it up to about 250 degrees. I'd say 250 to 300. And then what I like to use, traditionally, everybody knows bacon, hickory smoke.
Yeah. Applewood.
Very distinctive flavor and smell. I personally like to use a mixture of apple and cherry. It's not as strong as hickory. You still get that obviously smoky flavor and all that, but it's a little bit subtler because you want the smoke to actually complement the meat.
Right.
It should be in addition. You don't want that to overwhelm. So what you do is you get your grill going, your smoker going, 250 to 300 degrees, and then you actually, I tell everybody, soak your wood chips overnight. So like these, traditionally you can pick them up at Lowe's, soak them overnight, and then keep this in direct heat. You don't ever want it sitting over top of the heat.
Right.
And then just start hitting this, get a nice hard smoke, let it go. If you have, the best idea is to have one of the internal thermometers with an alarm on it. I admit I'm lazy. I'd like to be able to plug it in and walk and go watch TV.
Oh, you actually use one?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were about to say, but we would never use that because we would know.
No, I'm not that good.
Okay.
I'm not that good. No, just you've got the internal thermometer. You can get those with the alarms at $15 at any kitchen store.
Yeah.
And just, set it and, I'm not going to use that term. Just set it and
set it and forget it.
Yeah, I was sorry.
That's all right.
And let it go. And what you can do is keep an eye on, how much smoke is going. When the smoke dissipates, go throw some more wet chips on top of it, and just let it go. Once it gets to 150 degrees, this is what you get.
All right. Hang on. We're going to go pay for the show. We'll be back, and we're going to tidy up some more bacon trivia. Promised, we're in the midst of the bacon curing here. Chris, I got a couple questions.
Okay.
These are some things I think are important to know. If I were to go to your procurer of meat and buy this slab, or do you buy more? Do you have to buy it and parcel it out? How long would it last once I've cured it? How long can I keep it? Do you freeze it? How do you go about actually becoming the king of swine?
Well, any good meat market, a good local meat market will have pork belly. Again, I said the first thing you have to do is make sure it's not salted.
Right.
But you can get it in slabs this size. You don't have to buy a car door sized.
You don't have to get the whole.
Now, that's
belly.
what I do, but I'm on a different thing.
You're at a different level.
You can buy these small slabs. It depends on where you go. I've seen everything from $1.99 a pound up to, when you're talking about the organic stuff, $4.99 to $5.99 a pound.
Okay.
When you get these, this is about a 1.5 pound slab. Once everything's cured, again, bacon usually doesn't last very long in the household,
right?
Because people devour it. But this would freeze well. I'd say 6 months. Definitely, if you don't have some sort of vacuum sealer type contraption, this is something that you would wrap in parchment paper at least twice, and then double bag it and try to remove the air out of as much air out of it
to freeze.
Yep, when you freeze it.
Okay, now we have a whole nother thing going on here that we're going to get to, or at least I'm going to get to try. Sorry. You've infused different flavors. So now in the curing process, we just did the brown sugar and the salt, etc. But say you wanted the espresso or the whatever it might be. How do you get that flavor going in there?
Well,
does it start at the beginning, or is it an add-in?
It's a part of the cure.
Okay.
Everything that I have done personally, it's been a part of the cure. You can experiment with anything.
Right, yeah.
What if, why not type of attitude. Believe me, I've had to throw out pork belly. The certain things didn't go over very well. But you start off easy. When you've got the basic brown sugar and salt cure, you can add garlic. You can add more black pepper. I know of people that have added maple syrup into the whole
See, I was
thing.
just going to ask you that. I was going to ask you if it had to be dry or if it could be wet.
It could be wet. That could
Okay.
be wet. I did a take on Mad Elf Ale that comes out every year that's brewed with cherries and honey. Well, what I did was I made my own Mad Elf bacon where I omitted the sugar and put honey in there
Okay.
instead of regular sugar. And then I actually rehydrated sour cherries and put them in the cure. So you had all of those flavors.
Okay,
That would,
so it's kind of like any cooking. Like you can experiment,
It's all
you can
about
do it to your
experimentation.
taste. It's all about the love of the cooking. But you don't have to be scared of the bacon. Like
No.
what I just gave them that we have written down for me to read about the breakdown
That's
of the
the basic.
cure. You can throw jalapenos in.
Yeah.
You can throw dried, rehydrated chili peppers,
Yep.
sriracha. You could do honey. You
Yep.
just said maple syrup, which would be kind of a waste considering you actually are making bacon.
Yeah.
But you can do anything like that.
Yes, you can.
And it's not, I mean, your taste profile might be incorrect, but there's nothing wrong you can do to it while it cures,
Right.
basically, as long as you do the flip and the keep it refrigerated.
the whole thing you've heard, if you've watched any cooking shows or things like that, you learned from your grandmother, you can always add more, you can never take away. So whenever you're messing with something like this, I suggest that you start off small. Just maybe a quarter cup of this or, a dash of that. Just don't. You don't want to
Don't
throw.
blast it.
You don't want to throw a dozen jalapeno peppers into a bag that has, in a 2.5 pound belly.
Right.
I might. That.
I would.
So
I made pickles with habaneros the other day. Well, it was in the summer, but we won't go there. A lot of people didn't like them. They were a little hot. I liked them personally.
I would
you
have
know?
liked those.
So it's all, I guess, to your taste.
it's
So
all in your taste.
experiment, have fun.
Yep.
Okay, so we basically have figured out you can, if you don't have, I guess smoking it wouldn't work that good if you have like a gas grill. You might have to put your wood chips in a indirect heat.
Correct.
So in a tin, and
Yep,
then
just
just
a little
keep 'em wet,
foil tin.
so let it soak that way. So you can do it almost anywhere, anytime,
Yep.
as long as you have. I've even seen people that buy the smokers that you can use inside a kitchen.
Yep.
I've seen that, so I guess we could do that as well.
Yeah, you pretty much can do it with anything nowadays. I've seen at a couple of the bit larger hardware stores, they have these wonderful little perforated stainless steel pans that are specifically made for smoking on a gas grill.
Cool.
So-
now, let me ask you this, since we're there, and I just dawned on me, how long do you smoke the meat,
Well-
like to get it done? And then once you've smoked it, do you still have to cook it in the pan, or is it ready to roll?
Well, it depends on how adventurous you are. I would say don't eat that. once,
Okay.
once it gets to 150 degrees, yes, it is cooked to temperature. That will actually keep any of the nasty bits out from harming you. What I tell people is that, if you're looking at a 250 to 300 degree range while you're smoking, about 2.5, maybe 3.5 hours to get to that.
Okay.
Depends on how patient you are. Some people, because you can actually jack the heat up, get it to 375, start throwing wood chips on and just what we call hard smoking it. It'll be done in a quicker amount of time, but you will actually have cooked a lot of that wonderful fat away.
Okay.
So,
So yeah,
but-
so don't rush it.
No, take
So-
your time, low and slow, just
Low
like
and
barbecue.
slow like any barbecue.
Just like barbecue.
Babies. Okay,
Just like
I can
barbecue.
do that. I can do that.
So the key is like with this, like I said, I had left the skin on. And once it comes out, just like when you're, cooking a steak or anything like that, let it rest.
Yeah?
Just leave it. Because it's the same thing. If you cut into a steak as soon as it comes off the grill, it's just all the juices are going to go flying out of it.
Exactly.
It's gonna, you're going to have a nice little hockey puck. So basically, I take it out, I let it sit down, I just leave it alone for a little while. And now, to make the slicing easier, I recommend that you stick it in the freezer, 15, 20 minutes, just so it firms up. So it makes it a lot easier to cut.
So we've smoked it, and we've let it rest, and then we put it in the freezer for
Yep.
15, 20 minutes.
To slice it.
And then we pull it out, and then we slice it. And that's when we're taking the
Yep.
fat cap off.
Yep.
And that's when we're slicing it into edible portions.
Yep, take the skin off, and then, I love these thick cut
Yeah.
slices. The problem is that you tend to go through the bacon a lot faster.
Well, which is not bad.
So, but once you do that, everybody has their own method of cooking bacon at home. Most people grew up doing it on skillet on the
I know.
on the
Hold
stovetop.
on that. We're not going to tell them the key for 1 second. We're
Okay.
going to take a break. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and you guys are going to see how we've plated this gastronomical experience that you're about to watch me enjoy. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back. As promised, to my favorite part of the show. We're bringing in Ryan, Chris's son, little chef. Give him a wave, give him the horns. He's going to be the official taster of the bacon concoction that we're about to eat. Have you ever tried this one before?
No.
Okay. Chris.
Okay, this is my riff on traditional Eggs Benedict that I've just twisted around a little bit. In place of the English muffin that we usually see on that, I've actually made a little mini French toast.
Nice.
So, stereotypical French toast, cinnamon, sugar, egg wash, all of that. And then on top of that, I have put one piece of my bacon. I know this is the espresso chocolate cure that I think will fit in well for what we're going to go with. Now, the next thing that kind of throws people off a little bit is that I poached eggs in coffee.
Yes, I have to tell you, when I saw the color, I was like, uh-oh. Like maybe we should have shot a little earlier in the day.
Yes,
but then I realized that this is infused with the flavor of the coffee. So
Correct.
I'm getting espresso chocolate,
Correct.
I'm getting coffee, I'm getting the bacon that's been cured. I've got a French toast slab going. Huh. Can you tell I'm happy, folks?
Trying to get
Are you
everything,
happy, Ryan? Excellent.
trying to hit on everything, the salty, the sweet, savory, just trying to just hit everything on here. So what I did was I actually poached an egg the normal way. What I did was I used 2 cups of strong coffee and then 2 cups of regular water. I just diluted it.
Okay.
I mean, you don't want to go too crazy.
And then we have a traditional hollandaise sauce.
It's traditional holiday sauce with another little twist. What I did was I added vanilla to it.
Nice.
A little bit of vanilla extract.
Ties in with the French
Yes.
toast.
So that right on top.
See, now that's the chef plating right there, folks. Because I would have let on the top of the let it
Oh, see, now
all
you're-
drizzle down.
You know, do the top chef swoosh, as they call it.
The zhuzh.
So and then
Sriracha.
sriracha. So now we're adding a little bit of a spicy component.
Do you like heat?
Yes.
Yes? Ah,
So.
Lee, you're a man of beyond your years.
Voila.
All right, here we go. Now, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to take this. Well, plug yourself while we eat, because this is your last, little 30 seconds. Dig in, my man. Dig in.
So this is where I talk about how incredibly handsome I am.
Exactly,
Okay.
and how they can reach you at any time to
And so
do.
you can find me on Twitter. I'm Chef Bait. Also on Instagram, Chef Bait, B-A-I-T. And if you're interested in helping out with any of the
Go
things
ahead.
that I'm involved in, you can check out wilmingtonstir.org and Meals for Shields on Facebook.
Try that. Just got a bite of everything. This is good.
Thank you.
This is really good. You like? You wanted that? Yeah, thumbs up. All right, thanks for watching, y'all. We gotta go. I'm gonna finish eating this, and thanks for watching, Christopher. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Appreciate
Ryan,
it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You
Bye-bye.
got beans!
Uh-oh. Aren't you glad you waited? Yeah. Man.
When I was young, my mama used to cook it up.
I'm going to say something.
Times
Oh, you
were
almost jinxed yourself.
hard, we never seemed to get
Well,
enough.
I've had these recapped about 4 times since the original.
Oh, when Papa come home, hear us kids scream. You kids quit complaining and eat them beans.